story, Singapore is taking a tougher approach to school bullying, and it's sparking a major debate over discipline, punishment, and children's rights. Under new guidelines, boys as young as 9 can now be caned at school for serious bullying offenses, including cyberbullying, if other punishments fail. Now, this is a penalty that allows up to 3 strokes of the cane, but only for boys, since Singaporean law bans caning girls and women. Officials say it would be used only as a last resort under strict supervision after several high-profile bullying cases shocked the country. But child's rights groups in the World Health Organization argue that corporal punishment can cause lasting psychological harm and may increase aggression over time. So the policy raises a larger question. Where is the line between discipline and abuse, and why does Singapore still defend caning in 2026? Well, joining us now is Dr. Camila Forcosh-Lavan. She's a psychologist and business consultant. How does physical punishment affect the way that young children understand discipline and consequences? Is it effective?
It's actually not effective. It's very, very effective in increasing bullying, if anything, and also carrying that violence and solidifying it into later on in life, including into their own family structure and children and so forth. So it's actually very, very damaging. And we know this, that there's like a lot of research by now. This is not a secret.
What does a child take away psychologically when punishment comes from a school authority?
So first of all, there is obviously very, very high mistrust. And we have to understand that children basically, in a sense, are to begin with in jail, yes? Meaning they cannot move to some other country or go out of a house that's potentially abusive. And often the only reprieve that they have is a school system where they can relax, have fun, enjoy the company of other children. So now if we also involve corporal punishment within the school system, so first of all, there's mistrust already to authority and to what is happening there. And now they have no safe space. That also increases the generalization into public spaces in general.
Obviously, the reason here that we saw the Singaporean government essentially say that they felt that this was a necessary move is because of some very severe cases of bullying where they felt that other forms of punishment, verbal punishment, was not enough to stop those cases of severe bullying. What do you make of that? Mm-hmm. Is there perhaps a red line, a situation in which, a physical response is actually the only way through which you're going to initiate change in a bullying child's behavior?
I think that it is a brilliant question because a lot of people do think that, like, okay, so we can't control this and then let's beat them up. Yes, sure, beautiful. That continues, again, the story of like they already often feel like they're in jail because they're trapped in a sense, yes, just being a child. I think it's very important as adults to have some responsibility and not just have a knee-jerk response and actually take a step back, especially within an educational society and within the educational system, and understand, again, the research is there, there's a ton of it, right? The bullying thing usually underlying is of often family abuse, the sense of insecurity, trying to regain power. Often the child is bullied him or herself, yes. Often there's a social pressure that is very, very high. So instead of just beating him up now too, take a step back as an adult, figure out what is the issue, what is the problem, especially if it's so rampant, especially if it's such a big problem. There's an even bigger problem. Take a step back. Use your head, so to speak, systems. Solve the problem, the actual problem.
There's certainly been a shift when you see videos online, for example, talking about parenting, going from this method of gentle parenting that became a more, you could say, popular method of dealing with children, moving away from, formerly methods like this of essentially punishing your child via corporal means. But now there's a shift, like we're seeing with Singapore, moving back to, these types of physical punishments. What do you make of this? And does it point to perhaps a much larger issue in how schools and parents are now dealing with disciplining their children?
Yes, for sure. I think that because there was corporal punishment and we realized that this is a problem, then it went to laissez-faire parenting where we're kumbaya and we never say anything. But that's also a problem because now children also feel neglected and no one cares about them. So has to be a happy medium where you have boundaries. And we also know this about healthy parenting, right? Where the boundaries do exist, except they're flexible, meaning they're very clear, but they're flexible. It doesn't mean that you beat children up, and it doesn't mean that you run away and you're never involved. It means that you're very involved. You talk to them, you discuss things, you figure stuff out. If there is some kind of a consequence to behavior, it is a healthy one. It isn't something that's exaggerated and actually goes towards torture or damaging a child. So I think that in general, to me, that's like a personal moment of, oh my God, we have to, just as a silly example, have studies and a certificate to cut hair or do nails or something like that. But you can just take a whole human being home. I think it's such a damaging thing. We need to have education on this topic already from kindergarten on how to behave with each other, on how to calm down, on how to talk to each other and do it age appropriately until people graduate high school. They already know how to build healthy plus minus relationships, how to raise children, something. And then when a child is born, I know there are some countries that do this where someone will come home and help them in the beginning. And maybe there's some free counseling because not everyone can afford it. And there's still stigma to it. Do some parenting education, do communication education, do this thing as a society, and we will not have these issues or have way, way less of them. It's just worth it, even financially, if for no other reason a society would be motivated to do so.
All
so,
right.
yeah, very sad.
Dr. Kamila Forkosh-Levan, thank you so much for that breakdown.